Coach, obviously not the result you wanted there. It just, running into Nija and their company just couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, I think we knew what we were up against, and she's really good. I thought our game plan was pretty good. We barreled up a lot of balls that, didn't fall for us. She can just, tip my hat to her because I wouldn't say a one-man show, but she's certainly not with that team, with the players they have, but she can be a one-man show if she needs to. So knew we were going to have to put some pressure on earlier. We went a couple innings where we were, after Williams hit her leadoff home run, I thought we, matched them pretty well for at bats, and was really happy with the game plan that Coach Jonagan put together offensively. I thought our girls worked hard to make something happen. We just couldn't get a break there and couldn't push a runner. But other than that, I think we competed, went out there with our knew we had to play really well to beat them, and didn't play good enough.
Is it a tough ask? You just played them, like playing them 4 straight consecutive times. Is that kind of work in your disadvantage, or no?
You could say they had the same information on us as we have them. They just have a few more bullets in their gun, and
sure.
Especially when it comes to the bullpen. It's a tough ask. Nobody wants to start off. You don't want to play the number 1 team in your conference, regardless of where you finish. But certainly when the number 1 is that far from the number 2, it just makes it a kind of a lopsided matchup. And nothing against our girls. We're a young team that fights hard. And we got a victory out in Lubbock, which probably kept them from falling asleep on us in this game. So. Credit them for coming out, being on their game, and making sure that didn't happen again.
You have such a young team. What do you want them to gather from this experience? I mean, Texas Tech's at the top. What do you want them to gather over these last 4 games going against the Big 12 champs that'll make them better moving forward?
Oh, great question. And I think we have to make sure that we grow from the individual victories that we had in that game, whether it's Peyton Tanner getting a crucial out, or throwing a great pitch, or making a defensive play, running one down, having a quality at bat, making her throw more pitches than she wants to throw. All those things add up to being more confident next time you face a good pitcher, regardless of who it is. So that's what I wanted them to do, is grow. I always say, Eric, when there's a team that's more talented than your team, make sure they play to their level. If they don't, they back off like they did out there on Friday. They didn't start their number 1 pitcher, so they took us for granted, and we, in game 1, our game 2, so they took us for granted a little bit, and I think our team took that to heart, and we're fighting a little bit harder, and we overcame the talent gap on that game day. So I was proud for them doing that. It's just a bigger gap than we were able to overcome today.
Obviously, now you got to wait till Selection Sunday to find out if you get to make the NCAA tournament. You got a lot of quality wins on your resume. Kind of what would you say to the committee here and making your case why you should be playing next weekend in a regional?
Yeah, we chose to play a tough schedule. I think we have the toughest schedule in the Big 12. Big 12 is the 2nd toughest conference in the nation. And if I choose to do that with my team and they fight through it, RPI, last I checked was reasonable. It's decent. I think we have a pretty good case to let them know that we belong in the field of 64. Mainly because we played a tough schedule, and we could have a lot more wins if I had chose to go down a different road. I'm trying to build a young team, and they met some of the challenges, some they didn't. We got a couple of marquee wins. I think this team's very deserving. It depends on how the math works with the AQs, but this team's very deserving in a conference that is probably the best that it's been in several years.
Yeah, you got great wins. You got a series win over UCF. You got wins over Texas Tech. You got wins over Kansas. You got wins as well over Texas State, who might win their league. You've got a pretty good resume.
Yeah, we've let the committee know that we're capable and we're deserving, and we're going to put up a fight when we get to the tournament. So I'm very confident that they're going to, see it in our favor right now. I guess whenever you're a so-called bubble team, you probably make a case depending on the, I hate to use the word bias of the committee, but which way they want to go. They could probably find enough reasons to go either way, but I think we've got a good argument that we deserve to be in there, and you know, watching so many teams and studying this for several weeks now. You know, I certainly would be like to be a lawyer on the case and arguing our case, because I think we've got a very good case and resume to put in front of them, and hopefully they'll see it to put us in.
Coach, going back to the Friday loss, you mentioned that you felt like Tech just kind of doubted y'all a little bit. I'm curious though if your pitching staff did identify anything. It seemed like majority of the scores that happened after that came from home runs, and Tech is known to just kind of swing at the ball. Was there anything your pitching staff did get that maybe you can use as a building block going forward?
Let me make sure I understand the question. Did we learn any from the home runs that we gave up? Is that what
Not from the home runs, but just in general, considering that the scores that were given up were the home runs.
Yeah.
Those are the, obviously Tech is hitting a lot more, they're swinging for the fences. Was there anything your pitching staff could take away from this?
Yeah, I think the key to beating good hitters is timing, disrupting timing, and I thought when our changeups were working, just like the strikeout with Williams right there at the end with Ross, I think the key is keeping them out of their timing. But they're great hitters that you can't keep doing the same thing over and over throughout their lineup, and a couple on the bench are, you know, All-American caliber hitters. So you've got a pitching coach and Coach Newman that's over there trying to second guess them all the time just to try to keep them out of rhythm. And sometimes we didn't outguess them. I think they matched up the timing pretty well on some hits, and that's just the risk you take. So, you know, being more efficient is something I've preached all year long. When you're efficient, you're ahead in the count more often. You can't throw it over the plate to those guys too often. They're going to make you pay. But being able to get some of those corners, a little bit more on those corners, and get some good strikes early in the count and not going too deep is crucial. And I think we probably, if you ask me if there's something we can learn from not just this series but the whole year, it's to be more efficient, work ahead in the count a little bit more. That's just pitching. The strike zones are tighter to me than they've been in many years, and you know, I've said a couple of times, I think we're going to get somebody hurt because we're having to put so much of the ball over the plate to get the calls. I'm not blaming officials; they're getting squeezed a little bit to call that and not get a bad report from the technology we have. So I understand that. I don't want to be an official. It's a tough job, but at the same time, it requires a pitcher that is not able to just blow it by you. And you know, maybe the second tier down from the All-American elite style pitching, you know, to pitch a little more careful when you do that. You're a little bit behind the count more often than you want, and good hitters make you pay in those situations. So yeah, I think hopefully I answered your question. I think we've just got to be find a way to be more confident in our pitches and be able